disruption and not suffering poor quality service. So we are saying, yes, you are probably constrained. We are going to court. Yeah, but unfortunately, it is law.
Uche is a lawyer. Let's throw it to Uche to explain it. What's the difference, Uche?
Because, hold on, 2-3 years back, you know, there were, the BlackBerry users were given 4, 5, 6 days for service disruption free. Then also in Ghana, for service disruption, they gave the MTN subscribers for service disruption some money for soft fine for service disruption. So, but not for poor quality service.
My argument, even before Uche says anything, is that it is just semantics. And I'm an English graduate. Service disruption, poor quality service. Poor quality service means that my service has been disrupted. Because if the quality of service is not up to standard, I didn't get good service. So service disruption, poor quality service, same difference. 6 and 10%. What do you call it?
Same difference. 6 and a half a dozen.
6 and a half a dozen.
So, Shola, what NCC now said was that it is the operators that should review from time to time to give compensation for subscribers on their network. So we now wrote them, look, we need to be given some compensation. NCC, we also copied NCC, that we gave them deadlines and all that. Nothing was done before we had to go to court last October.
I said I didn't agree with the fact
What's the difference between service disruption and poor quality of service?
Well, as Shola said, just a matter of semantics.
Same difference.
There's not much difference, just the same thing. And you see, for those of us who have gone through, you know, the bulletin released by CI, that's Consumer International for this year, there's much emphasis. There are so many areas that laying emphasis on that has to do, you know, for users. Also the issue of, you know, unfair contracts dealing. You find a situation where some of these, you know, network operators will come up with promos that will contain ambiguous clauses on them that you don't seem to understand. You say that if you play so game, you win 25 million. By virtue of the right you have as a consumer, that's right to information. They're supposed to explain all this in a very clear and unambiguous language that an average consumer should understand. But when you find out that you see them coming up with, you know, all manner of promos, that not even though the law makes provision that such promos should be regulated by the Lotto Commission of Nigeria, whatever. But you see, most times they don't, you know, really carry out this and out. And also the issue of access to information, because if you check down the multiple use that, you know, phone is, you know, accruing to consumer, there are many now. From there you have access to other forms of technology. So I think it's high time now, though HITA to NCC, they were being bedeviled with so many, you know, political, you know, lessons that made them not to be performing. But I think with the way they are going about it now, one of the events we had yesterday, one of their directors came and assured Nigerian consumers how they are working around the clock to ensure that, you know, phone users' interests are protected in Nigeria. But I think we should give them that benefit of the doubt and see what they will do. But presently, as it concerns, there are a lot of complaints, and they are not living, the operators, they are not living up to the Nigerians' expectations.
Shola, let me take you back a bit. We began from the premise that most Nigerians don't even know their rights. You all belong to advocacy groups. How well are you doing? Because most Nigerians don't even complain because they don't know that they have a right to complain. So I assume that most of your work will be teaching the Nigerian his rights. That when his call drops, he has a right to complain to somebody, and this is the person to whom he should complain. How well are you doing in that area of enlightening them and educating them about their rights?
I really would not agree to a great extent that Nigerians don't know they have a right to complain. We, by nature, we are complaining people.
We complain in our living rooms.
Yes, that's the problem. We grumble. I've really redefined it. I think what we have perfected is the art of grumbling. Because if it is an art of complaining, complaining has a process. And it is engaging that process that is the challenge. And that's why you don't ever get any redress for the grumbling that you make. So what we need to do, which is what we're doing, this kind of platform is one of the things that we use. Media is usually the best ways to get that across to people, is explain to them there are processes. Now, we work in an environment where transactions are not even respected. So I do a transaction with you. I come into your shop or into your store or whatever, and I do a survey, I buy something. I don't have a receipt. Without a receipt, there's no proof that that transaction actually took place. So if I'm not satisfied with what I got, how do I complain? If I come to you and say, I bought something from you, you can deny that I bought it from you because there's no proof. We first need to raise that awareness that every transaction you make, there should be some kind of proof upon which you can take up any action in case you are not satisfied. Nigeria doesn't even have that culture yet. So those are areas where even when you grumble and you complain, nothing can happen because a service provider who doesn't want to engage anyway, who wants to make all the money at your expense, will look at you and say, I don't know what you're talking about. You didn't buy that from me. There must be some kind of proof. There must be something that shows that at this point I did this, and I must have access to that proof to be able to use it to support my agitation if there is any such thing. So in terms of what the NGOs, my able colleagues are doing, I think within the limited resources that we all have, because nobody is funding this, we're all funding it individually, privately, because we have a passion for it. Within that limit, every opportunity we get on Facebook and everywhere and talk to people and enlighten them. But we need government participation because let me tell you the truth. Consumer protection really is a government responsibility.
Well, there is a Consumer Protection Council,
which is also underfunded.
Highly underfunded.
Highly underfunded. You know, I mean, one of the agitations we've been on for the past 8 years for consumer protection in this country is this. Funding should be provided from where this consumer protection derives its strength. It derives its strength from transaction, from sale of goods. And there is a VAT, there is a tax, a sales tax, VAT. We've been seeking government to consider, even the National Assembly, allocating a percentage of that VAT to fund consumer protection structures. Because I am the consumer who pays that VAT. It is a service, it's a consumption tax. So you should be able to take part of it to fund what will protect me from being exploited in the process of consumption. The jury is still out on that. We are still waiting.
Okay, let's ask Chief. Now, when we go back and homing on the issue of telecoms, what do we need to do to get Nigerians to exercise that right a lot more? Beyond the rhetorics of, oh yeah, we're enlightening them on television, radio, Facebook, Twitter, and all that. What really will get Nigerians going to a point where a telecoms company makes sure that your 2,000, 3,000 naira is finished in 2 days on data, and you make a call and you know that you're on a very short timeline, and they say you have to call this number, and you call the number and you're on the phone for 30 minutes and somebody keeps you 2 hours in some cases, and the person on the other line tells you, we're coming, and you get frustrated, and eventually you have to drop the phone, and you just know that you don't have the time to pursue this. What do we have to do?
That call should be toll-free, shouldn't it?
Let's start from there.
If you're calling the customer care, the call should be toll-free.
Yes. Remember 2001, a particular operator was charging, but later had to drop, and then it's now toll-free. All consumer care lines for telecom operators are toll-free now in Nigeria.
All right.
Telecom, including data, including the ISPs. I don't think the ISPs give you toll-free calls to their access to their customer care. Maybe the voice. The GSM networks.
The GSM networks, the four major operators, and Visaphone, Multilinks, and all of those ones I know are toll-free.
Okay.
Yes. See, there is a process, like Shola said. First, when there is anything wrong, you complain first to the operator through their customer care lines. Now, unfortunately, if you get frustrated, they now say, go to our website and complain. Again, how many people have access to
computers?
To computers and internet, because you have to be online before you can do that. So maybe 5 or 10% of all subscribers, maybe In fact, it's not up to 5%, but let's say 5 to 10%. So